This episode of Recording Studio Rockstars is brought to you by iZotope, Native Instruments, Atom Audio, and SAE Institute. You're hearing my voice right now mixed through iZotope, Ozone, and Velvet on Atom Audio monitors and headphones. Make sure to get my free mixing course at mixmasterbundle.com, and please check out our awesome sponsors using the links in the show notes. And please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel because it's a great way to help support this show. Now get ready to rock. Were you a fan of Chad Blake's?
Yeah, I love Chad. I actually met him at NAMM as well, and he's a super nice guy. I guess he wasn't aware of how much he's awesome, because to me it was like I was in front of John Lennon, and he was just speaking with me like I was his friend. I was, dude, like, you don't get it, like you're God, And he's awesome. I love him. He's super great, and he's one of the guys that's to say that there's no right or wrong. There's a phrase he says all the time, but it's like, don't always say always, never say never, usually say usually.
Welcome to Recording Studio Rockstars. I'm Lid Shaw, and this is the podcast created to help you become a rock star of the recording studio. At iZotope, mixing and mastering just got even smarter. Velvet gives you silky vocals with sibilant slurn de-essing, dynamic tone shaping, and de-click, all in one plugin. And Ozone 11 now includes clarity, upward compression, and AI-powered stem focus to help you master like a pro. Use code ROCK10 for 10% off Ozone or any of iZotope's incredible plugins at iZotope.com. Howdy Rockstars, it's your host Lid Shaw, and welcome back to Recording Studio Rockstars, bringing you into the studio to learn from recording professionals so that you can make your best record ever and be a rock star of the studio yourself. My guest today is Felipe De Mari Scalone, a Brazilian producer, musician, and frontman of the shoegaze grunge band Cyanish. After immersing himself in the music scenes of Amsterdam and London, he came back to Brazil to record his debut EP Lighthouse in 2019, and this marked the beginning of his journey in music production. In 2021, Felipe founded Junkmahal Studio, collaborating with artists like Vitor Bruno, Catiça, 43 Duo, Um Filho, Um Cego, Cego, and Luvbites, to name just a few, helping shape their sound across various genres. In 2022, he attended a Mix with the Masters seminar in France with Shawn Everett, who's been a guest on this podcast a couple of times. And by the end of 2024, he had already earned an honorable mention in Eric Valentine's mix contest. Congrats on that. Shortly after, he moved to Los Angeles for an internship with Chris Sorem at Nest Recorders. And I actually met Felipe at NAMM again during our Recording Studio Rockstars meetup and was impressed by his story, enthusiasm, and the cool sound of his records. A big shout out to Matt Boudreau for the introduction at the bar. Thank you, Matt, my brother from another podcast. Today we will discuss making records in Brazil, experimenting with sound, combining analog console and tape with digital, binaural microphones, and creating super cool short videos for Instagram to create new and unusual instruments in the studio. So please welcome Felipe De Mari Scalone to Recording Studio Rockstars. Felipe, are you ready to rock, dude?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm glad to have you here, man.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, so it was really fun to meet you at NAMM when we were there doing the meetup, and just, we had a couple of chances to chat and just really talk about making records. You played me some of your stuff. Do I remember correctly that you're a drummer as well? Or did I make that up?
I'm not a drummer. Like I can play a little bit, but I don't consider myself a drummer.
But I feel like you played me some of the recordings that you do, and I just remember thinking the drums sounded really cool.
Oh, thank you. I guess it was the Vitor Bruno one.
Maybe, yeah.
I played on that one. Cool.
I think that was it. Yeah, and those drums sound great too. So
thank you.
In my book, you sound like a drummer.
Thanks so much.
Sure, man. Well, so give us a little bit of a brief intro to who you are. You came from Brazil up to LA for NAMM. You spent some time there as well. I think you're back in Brazil now.
Yeah, I just arrived 2 days ago.
And so where are you in Brazil?
I'm in Londrina, which is actually it's like 6 hours south from São Paulo.
Okay. Let me see here. I like doing this every once in a while, just to get a feel for where things are. Cool. Check out this fanciness right here. Let's see if it works. Look at that. Brazil on the map. So just, I love doing this because it gives me a real sense of where everything is too. You know, like Nashville, I'm way up here. We were hanging out in LA over here.
Yeah.
And here's Brazil. And so where do I go on this map to get a sense of where you are?
Yeah. So like find São Paulo there.
Yeah. Is that near the water? Is it? Do you know where it is?
More south.
South. Oh, I see. It's down near Rio de Janeiro. Wow. So you're like,
but
sunny and nice down there, huh?
Yeah, but I mean a bit more to the south. Do you see Curitiba there? Curitiba.
Yeah, down here.
Yeah, it's a bit more. It's a bit up north. Curitiba is the state capital.
Okay.
It's a bit more north from Curitiba.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's between Curitiba and São Paulo.
That's wild. And so is it, you said it's really hot where you are right now.
Yeah, a lot.
Is it, so we sort of have reverse seasons from up where I am, right?
Yeah.
So if it's wintertime here, it's summertime down there. Do you get winter? I mean, does it get cold and you actually get winter and stuff down there?
As cold as it was in LA when we met. Like,
okay.
It was the same amount. I don't
know. Not too
in
bad.
Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Actually, it did get pretty cold while we were there, didn't it?
Yeah. We get that cold 2 weeks in the year, but the rest is like pretty hot.
Well, cool, man. Well, so tell us about your, interest in doing the music thing. Give us the brief story of doing the band thing and then finding yourself in all these cool places, like doing a Mix with the Masters with Shawn Everett, interning up in LA and being down at your studio.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that, and I always had music around. Like my family have a lot of musicians. My grandfather was a accordion player.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I grew up.
Your grandfather was Weird Al Yankovic? Or is? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Al.
But
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I remember like I always had some instrument around, and I didn't think of instruments as different stuff. Like for me, it was always like a TV or a radio, in the house. You just had the guitar or a piano or something, and I used to play with them. Like for me, it was kind of toys. Do you know what cavaquinho is?
No, what's that?
It's looks like a smaller acoustic guitar of the size like a ukulele.
Okay.
And Brazilians use that a lot on samba or pagode, like Brazilian stuff. And we had that, and I remember just playing with it when I was a kid, like 3 years old. For me, it was like a toy. So I never saw like instruments as different thing. And as I was growing up, like I was playing with that, and I remember when my cousin introduced me to new metal, which was like the rock stuff going on the early 2000s. Yeah. And he showed me.
And your parents were like, "What in the world is that?"
Yeah, they started to get worried about that time. And it was funny because my family is really religious and Catholic. I remember like seeing Korn and Slipknot music videos, and I always heard about like how you can introduce the devil to your home through music and movies. And when I watched that music video, I was like, all right, so that's what's going on. I'm letting the devil in, and I was pretty worried. I remember like watching "I Love It Loud" from Kiss and seeing Gene Simmons, and for me, that was Satan, and I was like having goosebumps because Satan was getting in the house, but I liked that. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, Jesus Christ. But that was my first introduction to rock. And I knew like that had something with me. And
You're
when
like, I gotta have it.
yeah, it was like,
You had a bite of the musical apple.
yeah, yeah. I guess that was devil. And I remember a bit after that, when I was like 11, I saw Nirvana, which was funny because it was the video that heart-shaped box, which they have like the Jesus like pretty thin on the
Right.
cross,
Right.
which was not like so popular with
Right.
Catholics as well. But when I watched that, like that bite me, like that was the deal, and I got like from there on, I was like a fanatic of Nirvana, and it resonated a lot with me. It still resonates, and that was like my call, to music, I guess. And
Doesn't Rio de Janeiro have a giant cross above it?
they have like
Nearby?
a Jesus, is like a Jesus,
Right.
doing the
Right.
crossing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of culture down there as well.
Yeah.
What about locally? Do you feel like was and is a lot of rock and roll and a lot of secular music, stuff that's not stuff, I mean, basically just rock and roll?
Yeah, like Sepultura, for example. I met Shawn like a few days ago. Yeah, I met Shawn. I was I confused him because his name is Shawn and yours is Shaw. So
Right.
I met him like 4 days ago, and he was talking about how Sepultura was his favorite band when he was like 13, I guess. So
Wait, you just met up with Shawn Everett again?
Yeah. We went to dinner,
cool.
like me, him, and Chris Sorem, because they're
when
friends.
because you were just in LA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah.
Right. Of course, this will come out a little bit later, but still. Well, that's cool. So tell us about Sepultura. I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce it right. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, Sepultura is actually how we call that. People say like Sepultura. Yeah, I guess they were the first Brazilian band to get huge worldwide, and still today, like, it has a lot of influence. People know Brazilian rock music because of Sepultura, I guess. I'm not like a big fan, but yeah.
I sort of know. I feel like I'm familiar with traditional Brazilian stuff, João Gilberto, and of course, like 1970s Brazil. And was it who was it? I'll think of it here in a minute. But the trumpet player who would do records from Brazil every year or something, right? In the 70s, Brazil, or 60s, I guess, and 70s. But anyway, that's kind of the extent of my real knowledge of music from Brazil, other than having an impression that there's a lot of incredible rhythm that comes, sort of South American and Central American sense of rhythm and time is great.
Yeah.
And Rio, of course, is famous for music and samba and everything, right?
Yeah. And I'm not the best person to talk about Brazilian music because I don't listen to that as much as I should. But I guess it has a lot of influence. Like you're saying that you like that a lot. Chris Sorem as well. He loves Brazilian music, and you can see that, like in indie artists from today, like Mac DeMarco, for example. He has a lot of influence from Brazilian stuff, like from the old days. So I guess it has a pretty rich music statement we have.
Yeah. So now you you grew up playing some music and you were playing in bands locally, or you just took off and went to Amsterdam and was it London? Is that where you said you were?
Yeah, I spent just 30 days there, but I was playing here before, like since I was 15. And I never took classes, but I could play a little bit of bass and guitar and drums still today. I'm like I'm not a drummer, but I can play a little bit, you know.
Right.
And yeah, I would just play with friends here. We did some tours and shows within Brazil, and I went to London in 2017, you know, to stay with some friends there. And I had almost like I basically had given up music because it's pretty difficult here. Like we kind of don't have a music industry.
Right.
That's why I entered law school. At the time I was studying law, because I was like, I don't think I can make a living out of it, you know. And you see people giving up, and you see bands falling apart
Right.
because the thing kind of does not work. But when I went to London, it kind of like gave me another perspective. You know, I saw that there were things going on outside my, at least my city. You know, not speaking for the whole country.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like that time I saw Nirvana when I was 11. When I went to London and saw the bands, it was like the second time that gave me that feeling. You know, that I had to do that.
So you saw Nirvana play when you were 11, or
No,
saw?
No,
Yeah.
just
Because how old are you now?
I'm 32.
32. Okay. Yeah. So
when Nirvana came here, I was 1.
Right. Exactly. But what did you see? You just saw the performance, or you saw the documentary?
Nirvana.
Was it a film? Yeah, you said when you saw Nirvana play.
Yeah, no, it was like when I saw I got to know Nirvana when I was 11, and seeing music videos. Actually,
just seeing the videos,
documentaries as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dreaming of a career in audio or the entertainment business? SAE Institute Nashville, in the heart of Music Row, offers hands-on programs where you'll learn on professional-grade gear with industry pros, learning through real projects, not just lectures. Explore studio production, live sound, audio for film, and a whole lot more. Or take the entertainment business program to learn about contracts, promotion, and more. With diploma, associate, and bachelor's programs, there's a path for you. Book a tour today at nashville.sae.edu or call 615-244-5848. And then were you playing some music over on your travels as well, or it was just for a month of travel and then you came home and got excited about it?
Yeah, I play one show with my friends there. But I was mainly like watching bands every day. And
yeah.
There's
a lot of good music over in London for sure. Mm-hmm. And I don't know much about the music scene in Amsterdam. I visited, but mostly we just went to the coffee shop and got obliterated on hash, you know, and coffee and tea and stuff, and went out drinking. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was back when you were 1.
Yeah, it was kind of the same as, it was not so strong, I guess, as London. But I mean, I was so overwhelmed because I never saw bands. That's another thing about Brazilian music scene. We don't have a great gear. You know, everyone likes just getting the worst stuff. Like, for example, people here, if you got like a SM57 or 58, you're like, oh man, you tell your friends, you know. I remember people coming to me like, man, I got a SM57 original, you know, because we got a lot of cheap copies.
And here you are joining us on an RE20.
Yeah. That's fancy, pretty fancy here. And it's like that with instruments as well. So I remember like when I went to Europe, seeing the bands with like amazing gear and a lot of pedals, you know, that gave me another perspective as well, because I see what you can do, you know. I saw what you can do and the options you have. You just have to take the time and invest a lot.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, once you start to understand what's possible when you see other musicians performing and getting certain sounds on stage, it opens your eyes to what you could do. When you hear somebody get certain sounds in a studio setting, it really opens your eyes and ears to what's possible. I remember the first time I saw somebody really make drums sound amazing with a compressor, you know, and I was like, I didn't even know that's where that sound came from, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. What about you in the studio? Now you came back, did the band thing, started. So that sort of inspired you to record your own record. And then that got you excited about all the possibilities for recording.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of experimentation with effects, because I saw a lot of bands using like effects on vocals and stuff, which I never thought about. I would just sing, with the microphone they had on the gig, and I just bought the Boss VA20, I guess, the vocal, the vocal effect.
Is that an effects box for vocals on stage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a vocal pedal. And I just started messing with delays and reverb, and I actually made the band, and it didn't work because it's like, because of that scene that I was talking about, like it's pretty difficult and have to invest a lot of money, and you play and you just get like 2 beers, and it's not like a real thing going on.
Right.
A lot of people wouldn't take it seriously, and would give up, and it was pretty hard to even get people to rehearse. So I was tired of it, and I got like an interface and a microphone, and I saw that I could play and record myself. So I decided to do, So that was my introduction to the studio, not wanting to play in bands and do everything by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's, let me see here. That is Cyanish, right? Mm-hmm. So Lighthouse is the album name, right? Mm-hmm. So, and we have that in the playlist, Rockstar. So if you want to hear the music that Felipe is making, producing, and then also his own music, we'll have links to that so you can check it out. But when you decided you wanted to write songs and stuff like that, what about the process of just deciding, like, what do you want to write about?
That's
pretty difficult. What do you want to say in the words?
Yeah, that's pretty difficult for me, actually, because the lyrics, I guess it has a lot to do with the sound of the words. I was always a big fan of that. Like even like Cocteau Twins, for example, I guess that's the thing, because they don't really have like real words going on sometimes, but it's just for the vibe and the feeling. And the thing is that they don't need to, like, the vibe you get from Cocteau Twins is so it's so cool and so strong that they don't even have to need to have real words. You get the vibe, you get the thing from the sound, from the vibe. And that was always what spoke with me.
I feel like Radiohead was a bit like that for me too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was the I forgot what song it was, one of the huge ones, and somebody did a lyric breakdown once, and I was like, wait, what do you mean he's singing about aliens? I didn't know that was any of the words. Or Nirvana, Nirvana. Yeah, Nirvana. Nobody knew what the words to Smells Like Teen Spirit were. Mm-hmm. They had to break it down on MTV for us.
Yeah. And if I guess growing up in Brazil and not knowing English, that was also what attracted me. It was the vibe, because I couldn't understand like Nirvana when I was 11. So even now, like I don't even pay attention to lyrics that much, Anyway, so yeah, for me it was more like the sound of the words and what I was feeling at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you do, so do you still play out now? Do you still do the band thing, or are you more focused on studio stuff yourself? No?
I'm just in the studio.
Just doing studio stuff. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, let's see. Let's move to talking about your studio. What is your studio now? Where are you joining us from?
So yeah, it's a garage here. And now I actually don't know what's going to happen, because I just got from LA and I'm planning to go there soon again.
Right. So you might be packing up to go do stuff.
Yeah, it's actually a mess here, and I don't plan to get things organized. I just want to sell stuff, and I know I have to move because here, unfortunately, like we don't have a scene. So I
Right.
have to find a better place. So my studio is like a garage, and here where I am, it's like an attic, and
Right.
it's like the control room. Yeah, and that's
How
it.
does
Like,
it feel to like when you make a big decision like that, when you decide to move to another place or a faraway place? Is that difficult? I mean, do you have to say goodbye to friends and family? Is that challenging? Have you found that the 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 answer to that is just simply traveling and visiting regularly or anything like that?
yeah, I mean, I never spent like that many time uh, far from them.
Hmm.
Uh, but I guess it's like it's I spent so much time here, like doing the law school for so many years. I feel
Right.
like I don't have much time to to spend like trying stuff here. You know, I
Right.
just
You got to get busy. In other words,
yeah.
you got to get moving. Yeah. Well, I know, I understand that feeling. I mean, at 32, I remember I did. I chose recording, and it was my second time at college, and I already felt like I was behind, on things.
Mhm.
So I understand that feeling. With the law stuff, is that something that you finished? And is there a bar? Did you take it so far as to pass the bar and do the whole law school thing, or did you just start it and then decide it wasn't for you?
No, I graduated and I have the OAB, which is like the Brazilian bar. So technically, I
Okay.
am a lawyer, but I never worked as one. I really
Well,
like criminal law though.
okay. I was going to ask about contract law and entertainment law. Did that ever get interesting to you?
Nah, not really. Like when I was doing that, just international law and criminal law, like was
Yeah.
the topics that I like.
Cool. Cool. All right. Well, so then it sounds like your studio is in flux right now. But you did go up and you had this opportunity to go do mix with the masters with Shawn Everett.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience.
So
First of all, who is Shawn Everett? For those who don't know yet.
he's like for me, he's a genius, and I see him as an artist, just not like just as an music producer. You know, he's yeah, he's an artist. Like he's super smart. You know, and he sees music differently. You know, his maybe he does not like see kick drum as a 60 hertz. Maybe he sees kick drum as a as black. You know, or in
Right.
colors, or yeah, he's super nice. And actually, I don't remember if I told you this at NAM, but on the pandemic 2020,
Hmm.
I was one of those people that got fired because of the situation, no, the economics.
Right. Right.
And I just had I went through a breakup at the same time. So and I that time I saw that, man, I don't have nothing to lose, and everyone was dying, you know. So I just decided to quit finally the law stuff that I didn't like much, and to start a studio here in the garage.
Hmm.
But it was like a mess, you know, a lot of old stuff here. So I was just organizing the place and cleaning, and I discovered your podcast at that time. So while I was working on the studio, I was, you know, learning from producers. And I
Yeah.
remember I was painting the floor when I heard like someone speaking, and was that got me my attention, you know, just when I saw Nirvana when I was a kid, and I was listening to this guy, and I was like, yeah, this is a pretty cool dude. And I just started studying him. It was Shawn, and I
Yeah.
started studying him. And yeah, from that day on, I became a super fan. Started mix with the masters to see like his videos, what he do, and then this opportunity to go to France. I saw the announcement, and I was like, I'm never gonna pass, you know, because it was just only for 15 people, I guess.
Yeah.
And I I just subscribed, but I was like, I'm never gonna be called, you know. And they called me, you know, and yeah, it was amazing. It was like the best time ever to be there and you know, talk with him, have lunch with everyone actually, because all the people that go there, not only like the producer, we got all the attendees are
Right.
amazing.
Lots of interesting people from all over.
Yeah.
From synths to strings to studio guitars, Complete 15 has it all. Native Instruments' flagship bundle gives you everything you need to create pro music in any genre, with cutting-edge instruments like Contact 8, Massive X, battery, guitar rig, and session guitarist for lifelike electric and acoustic guitar parts. Use our code ROCK10 for 10% off at nativeinstruments.com or get started with Complete Start totally free. I don't know if you're allowed to talk much about the experience, but is there anything that you remember that was just really exciting for you in that experience? Or sort of anything that really was mind-blowing and just opened your eyes, or some cool new idea that you came up with?
It wasn't so surprising, the things that he did, because I already knew a lot. Because I'm addicted to watching his stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember one thing that was new is his take on expansion and movement, because we learn, I learn a lot of stuff on the internet, and you see a lot of people talking about, if you have for example, a kick drum and a bass, you have to cut some frequencies, for them to fit together on the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if within the kick drum, kick in, kick out, and the sub, But Shawn, he used a lot of expansion. I guess you can see that a lot on the Victim, which is the War on Drugs song. Mix with the Masters has a video of it, and maybe. I learned that maybe it's not cutting frequencies. It's maybe respecting the timing and maybe the movement, because for the kick drum, instead of carving out 60 on the bass, for example, you can make the knocker part of the kick hit first and then the sub, So it's you can fit a lot more than people say, if you respect the movement of elements.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So in other words, there can be a timing difference between frequencies in a sound even.
Yeah,
you can hear the beater on the kick and then hear the sub happen almost afterwards.
Yeah, maybe the punch first and then the body and the sub. Something.
So how would
that.
you do if you were going to do something like that? If you were going to take that idea and try and incorporate it into a production, what would be something you would try?
Well, for example, what is on my mind, it's remember the seminar, Shawn uses a lot of C4 and C6 from Waves, and everything that I'm saying, people can see on his videos. So maybe use the mid range of the kick drum to using the C6 as an expansion. And you can use that for the mid range, for example, to hit first, but use the low part of the C6, from 0 to 60 hertz. 60 hertz, you use that as compression.
So it's more under control.
Yeah, and it hits later.
That's interesting. Yeah,
you mess with the release of the band, that band, the lowest one. So you got the mid range first, maybe, and then the sub part, something
That's
like
cool.
that.
That sounds like something fun to explore. And so the C4 is the multi-band compressor, Rockstars, which I think also has the expansion built in. And I guess C6 is the same thing. It's just 6 bands instead of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know there's another one from Waves called the F6, which is I think that's what it was called. That was dynamic EQ, which is also fun to experiment with as far as expansion and compression. And then, I mean, there's so many out there. Isotope, obviously, Ozone gives you all those features, which is very powerful too. One of the questions I ask guests on the show sometimes is to just share an important failure, something that might have been a nightmare in the studio moment for you that turned out to be a great learning lesson. Did you, as you were trying to figure out how to record your own records and then trying to travel and go learn with these guys, Do you have anything that comes to mind that was something that really didn't go very well or didn't go as you expected, but turned out to be a good learning experience?
No, nothing specific comes in mind, but one thing that I notice a lot is every time that something good will happen, something bad happens before, because
Right.
like, for example, I want something to happen and it's not working, and I start to get nervous and trying to fix stuff, but that comes, now I know that most of the times that means it's for a better purpose, and sometimes you have to work harder, and maybe the path is not what you're expecting, you know, but you have to put some work. It's kind of like if it was testing you, to see if you really wanted that, and
Yeah.
then yeah, that's one thing that I noticed, not just in the studio, but in life in general. If it's
Yeah.
not
Well,
work, yeah, sorry.
sorry, I thought it was a pause there, but to me, it brings to mind somebody I met a long time ago, Jo Herron, who was the granddaughter of Bascom Lamar Lunsford, who was a famous collector of old time Appalachian songs in the mountains of Appalachia, all up and down the Appalachian Trail. And I was visiting her with my friend Chris, and we were staying and writing songs out in a tent outside. And then she, invited us in. We were traveling. We were young and traveling. And she invited us in for breakfast the next morning. So we're hanging out with her. And then I asked her, she was in her 80s, and I just asked her, do you mind if I ask, like, what advice do you have for life for us? We're young. You've got the life experience. What advice do you have for us? And she said, just remember that life is always a series of peaks and valleys. It's like it's a peak, you're on top of the mountain, and then next thing you know, you're down on the bottom of the valley. So whenever you're faced with any situation, if it's really bleak, that maybe I'll start this way. If you're right at the top and everything's going great, just be aware that it's not going to stay that way forever necessarily. And you may be next up on the journey might be, coming down and being at the bottom of the valley when things aren't working out quite the way you want them to.
Yeah,
But then when you're at the bottom of the valley, of course, don't despair, because, the next thing ahead is a peak. You're probably gonna have to work your way up that hill, but when you get to the top, it's going to be glorious.
yeah,
That was her advice. So I always remembered that. And I thought, like, that's pretty useful, I mean,
yeah.
maybe sometimes it'd be good to just stay at the peak for a long time, but
Hmm.
things that are wonderful in life, things that are great in the studio versus terrible in the studio, they're also, it's also relative. It's like, it's about contrast,
Hmm.
even what you're saying about like Shawn Everett and thinking of music as colors, it's like contrasts and relative differences in colors that I think make visual art interesting and make sonic art interesting, and experiences in the studio too.
Yeah, I guess that's why it's nice not to follow the rules, because
Yeah.
something that is seen as a mistake may be a original, stuff. Like, for example, something that's is not working in the studio as you wanted to, or as someone would consider the right thing, maybe would lead you to something new, So these peaks and valleys can be translated to that as well, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Now for you, you came back and just jumped right in to teach yourself how to make music, and you used online things like Mix with the Masters to learn lots of stuff, which is great. But you didn't necessarily do a school program for recording. Is that right? Or did
No,
you,
yeah.
did you actually do that too?
No, I didn't.
So, but yet you figured a lot of things out. And, I was going to ask you a little bit more about your studio, even though I know you're about to, you're saying you don't have one because you're you're moving.
Hmm.
Um, But I do know that you're in the videos that you've made for Instagram and stuff like that. You've showed some really interesting things like, a Tascam mixer, I think was one of them. Do you have some tape machines or anything like that?
I just have like a cassette deck and a VHS. Yeah,
Yeah.
VCR,
Yeah.
which I use like to screw with things.
Yeah. And those are both really cool. And I mean, I think sometimes we forget that those are tape machines. Like you can absolutely use those to get a cool tape sound. And then binaural mics, that was another interest of yours, right? Were you a fan of Chad Blake's?
Yeah, like I love Chad. I actually met him at NAMM as well. And he's a super nice guy. I guess he wasn't aware of how much he's awesome, because to me it was like I was in front of John Lennon,
right?
And he was just speaking with me like I was his friend. I was, dude, like you don't get it, like you're God, And he's awesome. I love him. He's super great, and he's like he's one of the guys that says that there's no right or wrong. There's a phrase he says all the time. Maybe someone already told that here, but it's like never say never. Don't always say always. Never say never. Usually say usually. And that's what I see, like learning from people on the internet and all. You see a lot of people teaching that something is right, or don't do this, or do this all the time, and tips and tricks, and actually you realize someone is great when they admit that they don't know, and there is no right or wrong. So Chad is like that, and I guess that's why he's so creative. Shawn as well, because they don't have these limits, like this I'm not gonna go through this barrier because I shouldn't. They just fuck it, they just go for it.
iZotope is truly amazing for mixing and mastering your music. Check out the new iZotope Velvet plugin featuring intelligent sibilance learn de-essing that automatically detects harsh frequencies, dynamic tone shaping with lift and tame controls, and transparent declick to clean up mouth noises, pops, and clicks, all in one easy plugin for polished professional vocals. And now Ozone 11 takes your mastering game even further with the new Clarity module for adaptive spectral enhancement, upward compression in the maximizer for increased punch without losing dynamics, and stem focus to process individual elements like vocals or drums with surgical precision. Use the code ROCK10 to get 10% off Velvet, Ozone, or any fantastic plugin at iZotope.com. We're back now for the jam session. AKA the second half of the show. My guest today is Felipe De Mari Scalone, joining us from Brazil, which is super cool. Are you ready to jam, dude?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So you one last question before we jump into some of these specifics, but you went up to LA to go do an internship. So tell us about that experience too. Where did you go? What kind of stuff who are you working with? What kind of stuff were you doing there? And what did you learn?
Yeah, so I went there to assist Chris Sorem. His studio is in Boyle Heights. It's called Nest Recorders. And Chris, he won a Grammy for Los Lobos and Gabi Moreno.
Right on.
And he's a sound engineer for Rufus Wainwright. Yeah, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Rufus Wainwright. Yep.
Yeah. So it was amazing. Like it was the best time. I don't even know how to start, to say the things I learned. Like,
well, what's the studio like?
It's
How
awesome.
do you describe it?
It's big. It's pretty big and has a lot of rooms and awesome gear. And he built it himself, which is like unbelievable. And he has great monitoring. Now he has like this big Neumann speakers, and has a lot of analog gear. And it was super great. Like he's super fast, you know, I guess because he works a lot on live sound. So
Yeah.
he get the sounds pretty fast, but he all like, I guess, to say like what I learned maybe is, I don't, maybe is emotional intelligence, because he knows uh when to be uh the when to have like the right approach. Like for example, he knows when to be fast when he needs to get sounds, but he knows when to be patient, for example, to test something when he's producing an artist, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like to try a lot of things with different instruments and all. So he knows when to shift, and uh, as well, like when to be serious and when to make a joke. You know, he has a lot of. He's really smart in that sense, you know, and also like even within like the mixing process, he's pretty like creative and go for it, but he also knows when it's the time to stop and mess with the technical part, which I guess he usually does that like on the next day. So at first he goes for it, you know, tries a lot of delays and run things through guitar pedals. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's just feeling it, going for the
Mm-hmm.
vibe. And then the next day he goes with fresh ears and see what is working. You know, if you have to make adjustments, EQ wise, or you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like get the creative stuff happening first, almost like a performance, and then
Yeah.
come back in and do the finishing work.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Yeah.
with fresh ears, I mean, when we do the creative stuff, a lot of times we have the speakers turned up, and so we're kind of wearing ourselves out a little bit. We're using up all our energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I one thing that I noticed, which I found it was really cool, is that he starts with everything on, like every element. Like I learned
What
like
does that mean?
I learned to do that. Like you leave all muted and start like to unmute the kick drum, and you start to crafting the kick drum sound, and you open the snare mic, you know. And I was losing perspective, I guess, you know, like
Right.
that's what I was thinking about. But he starts with everything on, so he's just reacting with the elements, you know, and he's not
Yeah.
worried a lot of the, you know, if it's the sound is the perfect kick drum, for example, you know, he's going for the vibe and taking the whole song, you know, as his perspective, you know.
Yeah. Now you're talking about starting a mix. Like
Mm-hmm.
is this an example where somebody delivers a mix? It's already been produced and they're delivering the mix, and so now he's just in the mixing phase.
Yeah, he's thinking
And
about the whole. Yeah, he's thinking. I guess the thing as a whole, you know, like
yeah,
as a vibe instead of like the perfect sounds, something like that.
right, exactly. And then did you find that it was effective for him, for you guys to still have a template to start mixing into, or was it like build a mix and then just start adding elements that make up a template? Would the template be nothing more than and also were you guys mixing in Pro Tools in the computer? Were you mixing on a console?
So he uses Cubase,
Okay.
and yeah, he uses a lot of outboard gear. He uses plugins and he run things through outboard.
Hmm.
So it's hybrid, and he's always going through. It's a it's an analog desk. I forgot the name. It's Tofu, something like that. Tofu,
Toft, maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
looks like
I don't know what it was.
a Trident, something like that.
Yeah, Toft does look like a Trident. Yep.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
always
I've never
running
seen
stuff.
anybody mix on a tofu console. That sounds
Yeah, I just realized
pretty
what I.
boingy,
Yeah,
pretty mushy.
I just realized what I said after.
It's okay. You get a lot of protein in the mix.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I think that's a fun way to mix. And I remember when we went to go mix with Tom Lord Alge, it was the same thing he said. You know, we sort of brought all these things, and we thought he would just analyze them all. And well, we also brought in Pro Tools sessions, so it was sort of things were disorganized. Anyway, there was a lot that needed to be figured out on that particular project. But he mentioned right off the bat, he said like he likes to pull up, just pull up the faders and see what the music is, and then start working on it. And
Cool.
and that always stayed with me. That was the first time I heard somebody say that, where it was that idea of like, you just need to hear it all together and just see what it is doing before you can know where you want to go with it.
Yeah.
I do think that sometimes we can hear with all the tracks up, we can go into brain meltdown too. We're like, I don't know what I'm turning a knob and it's not doing anything on something. And we can sometimes be left with that feeling of confusion. And I think those are good times. So let's see, maybe we can both talk about how we deal with that. But I think I deal with that by being really glad that I've got faders on a controller, because I'll be in Pro Tools, so that I can quickly take something, turn it way up, turn it way down. Like, what's the difference in the track with the music? What am I really hearing,
Yeah.
I think I'm also glad for the mute button, because same thing, I can just mute stuff and see if certain sounds are coming and going.
Yeah.
It's usually the drums. The drums are the complex thing with lots of faders, a lot of times.
Yeah. I didn't try yet to do like Chris, because I always did like going element by element, starting with the drums, and actually my first time mixing in analog was just 2 weeks ago, I guess. Do you remember Peter Kraft?
Peter Kraft?
Yeah, he was with me at the bar.
Oh, yes.
NAMM.
Yeah, Peter was great. I remember meeting him.
Yeah.
Super nice guy.
Super cool guy, super talented producer. He has a studio up in Napa Valley. And I went there for the weekend, like 2 weeks ago. And he actually has the same console that Shawn has, the API 1608.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he has the Unfair Child, Eric Valentine's. And it was my first time mixing on a console. It's pretty different. Like, it's amazing how you change the environment and the tool you're using, and you also hear differently. And I didn't have time to get my take on it, but I see that I have a lot of experimentation to do, with the way I'm approaching, like bringing the faders. I think I have to mix it up, maybe start with the vocals, or something like that, because it really changed the way you hear stuff.
Yeah, that was definitely something I remember learning early on, was that idea of, if you're building a mix, try building it from something else, So if you, rather than starting with the kick and the snare and just going from the left of the mixer up to the right, try starting with the vocal and then seeing, get an amazing vocal sound. And I find it depends on the music too. Some songs really want the vocal to be a big, full picture and have a real purity of tone. And so it makes a lot of sense to start there in a way, and then find out what other things can go with it, but that don't take away from it, don't step on it. And then sometimes it's music that is about the power of a band and the power of the groove and, like all the sounds of the guitars and stuff. And then you figure out how to make sure that those sound full, and how can the vocal fit with that,
Yeah.
Some of the examples from your discography, is it Catiça? Is the,
it's
how do you pronounce it?
You pronounce it Catiça.
Catiça.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a heavy rock band, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, it's a perfect example. It seems like the guitars are a big deal. And then the bass is with that. And a lot of times in heavy rock like that, I almost don't know what the bass is doing, because it's just unified with the guitars, maybe not always, but, and then the drums, have to have this clarity and punch to them, but they can't they can't steal from the guitar power, so they end up having like a lot of detail in the high end, so that you can hear all the fast movements and the fast parts, but not
Mm-hmm.
like not necessarily a bunch of, a bunch of body necessarily. They're like the kick will have the deepness, but like the point of the beater and the stick on the snare are really important.
Yeah.
And then the vocals just kind of, blend in there. How do you feel about mixing music like that? Do you think it's what's an element that you start with?
Yeah, so that was actually my first project of heavy stuff. It was super funny. It was not that hard actually, because the guys are amazing musicians and the songs are great. But actually, I spent a lot of time with drums because yeah, for me, like I don't recall who said that, but I remember listening like a band is as great as its drummer, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's kind of like the thing I guess people recognize albums by, like it's albums are remembered by their drum sound, like Nevermind or Rock's Music. So I think it's a big deal, and if you don't get a good drum sound, maybe it's not so pleasant to hear. I think it's super important because you always see people like listen to music and shaking, and you see they moving their foot. So I think something so primitive, and people, it's super important, the rhythm, and the drums. Anyway, and yeah, that's the thing that I started mixing
With those guys.
yeah. Yeah, it's like drum, bass, and vocals. Actually, guitars, I guess it was the last stuff, but
Yeah.
always super super high, like volume wise.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's almost like I described a way of hearing the song and thinking that's how the mix went, and you just said it went the opposite way, which is fascinating. So obviously it worked. Because it turned out great. Are you ready to launch your career in the audio or entertainment business? SAE Institute Nashville, right here in the heart of Music Row, offers hands-on programs to prepare you for the industry, from studio production and live sound to audio for film and a whole lot more. You'll learn by doing, working with professional grade gear alongside experienced industry pros. If you're more into the business side of entertainment, SAE's Entertainment Business Program teaches essential basics like contracts and promotion to help you navigate the industry. With diploma, associate, or bachelor's degrees, there's a path for everyone. Plus, Career Services supports graduates as they take the next step. Want to see it for yourself? Immerse yourself in Nashville's exciting music scene and book a tour today at nashville.sae.edu or call 615-244-5848. You've got a real variety of music styles and productions in your discography. Let me see. Well, one of the things that really stood out to me too was Londrina Ska Club or Clube. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, club. Yeah.
Club. Yeah. Very cool ska band,
Oh, cool.
And that's a lot of fun because that has a whole signature to the sound, Talk about that project a little bit.
Yeah. So that was, I guess had the higher number of integrants in the band. Like it was like 7 or 8 guys, I guess. And it was kind of
because you got all the horns and everything too.
Yeah. It was difficult to get everyone to record. There's a lot of people, but it's super nice. Like the vibe is what you hear on the record. They're all super fun guys, and it was.
Is that
nice
a record
process.
where they came in all at the same time to record, or did you do overdubs at different times?
No, it was different times. Yeah. I have the space I have is super small, so I couldn't fit everyone.
Right.
So yeah, it was separate.
So how do you start a record like that then?
Oh, we just did the how do you call it? Like the tracks, so like guitar and vocals, so the drummer can hear that. How do you call
Basic
that?
tracks.
Yeah. So we did that, and then just started by recording drums, guitars, and bass and horns. Horns was the last.
Do you do guitars after the drums?
Yeah, after.
Bass after that?
I don't remember. Maybe. Yeah,
I think it helps. It's a funny question always. It's like, should we do the bass and then do the guitars, or do the guitars and the bass? One of the reasons why it can help to do the guitars first is because when you're recording the bass, sometimes you don't know what kind of attitude to have in the bass until the guitars have some attitude. But that could also be true for drums. Sometimes the drums don't always know what's the right drum attitude unless there's guitars. So there's something to be said for doing sessions where you can record everybody together. I find sometimes a session that's recording everybody together so that it's like, now you have this outline. Now you can go in and replace parts and it'll sound tighter with maybe less mistakes, or maybe it'll just sound more confident in a good way. And then sometimes, what I end up with when we overdub it and it's more confident isn't as good as what happened when it was live, together as a band.
Yeah. I guess that's why pre-production is super important. Like you were saying, like to know every element space on the record. So if you prepare before, you already know when you're recording.
Right. All right. So let me jump to some more cool things to talk about. You have sent a few things to share with us that are worth showing off. So this is your website, right, for your studio now. Pretty straightforward and simple, but you've got a cool logo that's the studio logo right there, Junkmahal.
Yeah.
And how'd you come up with the name Junkmahal?
Well, junk because I have a lot of like crappy gear, like this VCR and this old test cam, which is falling apart actually.
Yeah.
And I like this kind of stuff, and I'd like to do experimentation and everything. So I guess a bunch of junk, and I thought it would be funny. Like I was thinking about like junk something, and I was looking at Taj Mahal, and that means Mahal means palace, Yeah. So I thought it would be funny.
Oh, that's groovy. I like it. The Junk Palace.
Yeah.
That's how we usually feel about our studios, right?
Yeah.
Palace of our own. So then, let's see, you got this great picture of you with Shawn Everett hanging out at, this is probably mixed with the Masters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's you right there, right? You actually look like my old intern.
Oh, cool.
An assistant in the studio. It's funny.
I guess it's funny. I like this picture because I just realized a few moments after I went there that we are listening in the same position. Like our hands are kind of the same.
Thoughtful, thought-provoking listens. Here's a picture, I believe, of your console, right? That's your Tascam?
Yeah.
All right. And then you've made some really great little, let me see if I can pull some of these up. I might have to zoom in. Oh, I think I have to readjust the screen share. So hold on a sec. So I want to see if I can share audio with these Instagram clips that you did. Oh. So here's the first one. These are great. So you made all these videos to sort of demonstrate making cool sounds in the studio. So I'm going to turn on the sound. Hopefully you're going to hear that and we'll still hear you talking, and maybe you can tell us what we're looking at and we can just talk over it too. So what are you doing here?
I'm doing that. Like I'm using my dad's car to make a synth bass.
That's great. I wonder if I have control over the volume. I don't think I do. So you may just have to speak up over it. So you're basically recording. Are you recording with mics, the guitar, the car in this instance?
Yeah, I just use
Well, that's pretty loud. And you've got your tuner right here, right? So you're basically checking the note pitch of each one as you grab it.
Yeah. I'm using my dad was in the car, so I was asking him to use the accelerator to tune, to get to C. So which is like the standard to make samples like. And I just ran it through my test cam, and after that the Big Muff, and I just made like a synth sound.
That's cool. Did you record it first and then bring it back into the studio, the recordings, to treat them with the pedals and all that kind of stuff? Or did you actually do all the distortion at the same time as the car was running?
Yeah, it was at the same time.
Man, bold move. All right, so let's go to another one of these. Let's see if I can just jump to a new one easily. Let's try this one. No, this looks like more of the samples of stuff. Let me actually flip over here and I'll find the next one that's cool. All right.
Cool.
So here's another one that you did. Whoop, no, that's the same one. Sorry. It's a little bit, Riverside makes it a little bit tricky to know what you're doing as far as which screen you're sharing. I'll try this one. We'll see what we get. All right, cool. So this here, let me turn off I'll turn the sound on so we can watch it once, and then I'll mute the sound and we can talk over it.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a little easier to talk over, actually. All right, cool. So in this one, it looks like you're starting out with, is this, here, it'll loop here in a sec because it's an Instagram video. But it looks like you start out with a microphone. What's that? Well, why don't you narrate over this? Tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's I guess it's called Ambio headphone, which is from Sennheiser. I saw Chet Blakey recommending those because they are like binaural headphones, which microphones on headphones, and you can use that, to do mobile recordings. You need to have an iPhone to plug it in. And I just took that I take that everywhere. Actually, I just took that to LA, and that was me and my girlfriend. I asked her to record us, getting the fire started on the stove. And I just recorded the noise, I was
right. So that's the electric spark for the pilot flame or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just heard. Light. I heard her starting that to make a dinner, and I thought that was cool, and I can put that on a song. And this song actually is maybe will be out when you release this, but it's called Guabiruba. It's the song for this band I'm producing right now, 43 Duo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like the latest stuff that I did.
All right, well, hopefully we won't get a copyright flag if some of the music showed up or something, but we'll find out. Then here's another one you did. Let's see what this one's all about. Looks like a stethoscope.
Yeah.
And then what are you doing? You're putting the other end of the stethoscope right on the mic?
Yeah.
Wow. And it picks it right up. And so what's that right there?
So I'm reamping my friend's heart to the kick drum. So I'm reamping it using a bass amp and put that in front of the kick drum so the speaker would play, the kick drum. And I recorded that.
And then then that's Melodyne right there?
Yeah. Because my friend, he probably has some heart problem because he was hitting strangely. I didn't want that. We just discovered it that day, and I just put on Melodyne to control the beats.
Wait, so we can fix our heart problems with Melodyne? That's great news. I didn't know. Melodyne puts more heart in your music.
Yeah.
All right, groovy. That's cool, man. I like all these experiments.
Thanks.
And obviously, your interest in working with Shawn, learning from Shawn, Chad, those are all relevant. Okay, this one's really great. All right, so let's see if we can watch this one real quick. So for the audio podcast listeners, we're looking at a video now with where he's showing pictures of mannequins, and now, oh boy, he just ran a drill bit through the ear canal of a mannequin. It looked that hurt just watching that. And then what are these little rubber ear things?
These are nylon ears for acupuncture that I bought that from the internet.
They're for what?
Acupuncture. Is that how we call it?
A carpenter? No, carpenter is...
No, acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating. Acupuncture. Yeah. So people are supposed to practice sticking needles into those earlobes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you put them on the mannequin so that it gave it a real ear, kind of like you're showing now a picture of the Neumann binaural microphone head. Mm-hmm. But if I remember correctly, the price is really steep for one of those. So you were like, can't get one of those. Let me make my own.
Yeah, 50,000.
You're sawing off the ear of the original ear of the mannequin and drilling a hole in her head. Poor mannequin. I'm thinking of all those bad 80s movies where the mannequins come to life in the store and they turn out to be lovely people. And then you just sort of drilled holes so that you could insert a microphone in one side and have it show up in the ear of the other side.
Yeah, and it was nice. I showed that to Chad at NAM, and he loved it. It was nice because he was like, "Oh, my first." I don't remember, but his first like binaural. It was. I don't remember, but he told me it was like something like a sphere, and he just he just put like microphones inside of it.
Oh, just to make it work.
Yeah, he had a lot of emulations before he actually bought one, and it was nice to know like that even he didn't start with the real one, you know.
You don't need to play guitar to sound like a pro. Session guitarist from Native Instruments delivers hundreds of lifelike guitar performances, both electric and acoustic, right inside Contact. Whether you're laying down rockin' electric riffs or warm acoustic beds, you'll get 154 electric guitar patterns and over 250 acoustic guitar grooves for strumming and fingerpicking, all grouped into song-ready presets. Dial in recording quality tone with built-in amps, cabinets, mic modeling, and effects. You can drag and drop MIDI into your tracks effortlessly, then tweak tempo, tuning, and feel to fit your song. And with new session packs on the way, you'll never run out of inspiration. Visit nativeinstruments.com, use the code ROCK10 for 10% off, and bring full guitar performances to your next track. No more blisters on your fingers. The ones you showed us a moment earlier was the earphones. So you can, I think there were the Sennheiser ones, which maybe are discontinued now, but I did see that you could still find like a used one possibly on Amazon or wherever. But I do remember there are other companies that came out with binaural mics where you could just, in fact, we had some guys, A Touch of Sound was a couple of guys who were going around the world doing field recordings. They were on the podcast to talk about that. And I think they were just using these mics where they're headphones that are binaural mics and you just put them on. And they were not expensive, maybe $100 or something on Amazon or less even. And you could record with them that way. But it's pretty fun to experiment with. What did you find? Did you find that the head that you made worked better than the microphones that you bought that you put on your own head?
No, because
the microphones on the head work better?
No, the microphones that I bought from Sennheiser are better because they are Omni. And the ones I was using on the head, there are just like condensers and hypercardioid. Right. So the headphones are better.
Okay, here let's watch another one of these here. Let's see what this one is.
The VCR.
Yeah, so this is one where you take a VCR and you turn it into a tape machine, right?
Yeah.
And the drums sound great too. And you're using like Sound Toys, Decapitator to treat it afterwards. Every time I play these, it's kind of starting at the end instead of the beginning, but it'll loop back here again. So there's the Tascam mixer, and then there's the Philips VCR or VHS tape.
Yeah.
With no top on it, right? You took the top off?
Yeah.
Did you do that just for fun, or did you actually have to get inside there and mess with some of the wiring and the routing to make something like that work?
Yeah, no, it was just, I actually used, took it off to clean the heads. And also you can see like the big thing turning and moving the tape. And you can actually like put your hand there and make it
mess
slow.
with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. And then was it difficult to send the audio into the VCR to record it? So Rockstars, the VCR, we're going way back here, but for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it was, we used to watch videos off tapes, a VHS tape. ADATs were made on tapes. Those were digital, of course, but the VHS tapes themselves were actually analog. And so the film would get striped as an analog recording onto the VHS tape, and so would the audio. And so you can actually use them to record audio onto them. And now you've got like an analog tape recording that's got this kind of crusty, funky VHS sound, and then play it back. But was it a little bit difficult to figure out how to do that, or was it really easy?
No, pretty easy. It has like in and out, you just have, it has one thing with the channels, have to pick the right one. But it was like 10 minutes. You can figure that out. Yeah.
What are the channels? You mean like, are there multiple soundtracks that can go on a VHS or something like that?
It just because I don't know exactly, but it has the right channel for the TV, I guess. You need. I remember actually setting that up with the TV to record movies. You had to find the right channel. I guess mainly channel 4 is kind of the standard, I guess.
Oh, that kind of channel. That kind of channel, like a TV channel input for it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if there's anything else we want to share here. And I think we've got, this is, I think, is this just your Instagram page? So a variety of stuff here. Pictures from that trip. This is probably hanging out with Chad at NAMM and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is Peter's place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like a very cool studio.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then various videos. And this is sort of like your drum room?
Actually, this was at a Airbnb because so my place here is just like a garage and have like that steel door, the metal door, like you have on a store or something, It's just like a door that you pull up. It was just that, and then the street, so it doesn't have any isolation. So everyone was listening, like Catiça, for example, played these loud drums, and someone called the police, and I was recording, and the police just came in like 4:00 on the afternoon, and I couldn't record anymore here, so I just started renting this place, which is like a bit outside town, on the countryside, which is pretty great. So you can make a lot of noise there anytime, and it's made of wood, so the room is nice. It just has like low ceiling.
Yeah, it looks like a good spot.
Yeah. The rest
should we hear a snippet of these drums?
Sure. Yeah, cool.
All right, here we go. I love it. When you're playing a drum part like that, there's no time for messing around.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Super fun. And then what do we got here? Oh, is this you messed around with your omnipressor and stuff? Just other cool plugins?
This is the emulation of the
The
compacts.
compacts.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
I had some questions about your discography too that I thought I'd ask you about. Let me see if there's anything else. Well, one of the questions when I was talking about the heavy records like Catiça, how do you record drums and guitars for heavy rock? So, my question was, do you use like Sims for guitar amps ever? Do you use samples? Is that part of a process of getting the drums right in a mix? We just saw that you were getting great drum sounds right there in the space, so maybe not.
I did use a bit. Like it didn't need samples, but I wanted to, have more punch and be like a bit more commercial. But using the complex actually, which is the emulation for the compacts, it helped a lot for the drum sound. I heard that David Bandeth used that for the Paramore record.
Right.
So that helps a lot, like to have a great natural heavy sound for the drums. And guitar, I just used simulations for the recording. So they recorded live. They're all playing at in the same room, but I used all microphones for the drums. So it was like 14 microphones, I guess, on the drums, and the guitars and bass were just on DIs. So I just used like simulation at that time, so the guitar player wouldn't hear like the dry signal,
right?
And we just recorded that, and that track, which was like the live, he did overdubs after for the. I used the overdubs on the sides, like one take on the left, another take on the right, and the one he recorded on for the basic track live with the drummer. I used that on the middle, which is like sounds like the telephone effect, really like mid rangey.
Yeah,
I just used that in the middle to get a bit more power, and to go with the bass. It's funny because you kind of don't hear it on the record, but if you take that out, you can hear less articulation for the bass. So that helps a lot the bass to stand out a bit more.
Yeah, interesting. So the center guitar is still the simulation amp, but the left and right guitars are real amps recorded as an overdub? Or did I get that wrong?
Maybe I reamped that one. I don't remember, but I just screw up with it very badly. But I did use the live take,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool, man. And then what about there's another one of the records, Um Filho. It's got really cool sounds. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Um Filho.
Which one is that?
Well, let's see. I don't know. Filho. I don't know how to pronounce it. There were two different bands with the name De.
Um Filho de Um Cego. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sobre noites mal something.
Yeah, dormidas. Yeah.
Mal dormidas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that one, my note on that was just that, very cool sounds, and it sounded like maybe you were breaking out the binaural mic, some cool synthesizers and key parts. And I wondered what kind of stuff you were using for that and how you like to get some of those sounds.
Yeah. So that one, the only sound that I recorded was Passará, which I guess is the first one on the playlist. The others I just mixed it. Mm-hmm. And that one we did in 2 days. Like they came here and recorded in 1 day, and I mixed on the other. And yeah, we screw up a lot with the recording, like using that. That's a good example of using cassette tapes. And I used this old Casio keyboard.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like not caring about like the quality, like the hi-fi part of the audio.
Yeah, go for the cool sounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love using old keyboards, Casios and things like that. I think those times when you discover you can take an old Casio, use the speaker on it, put a mic on it, put that through an effect or something, and you get really cool keyboard sounds. Like, I also love using the digital ones, Native Instruments, Contact, all that. There's tons of exciting sounds in there, but I think it's just a good reminder sometimes that, like, sometimes the simplest thing that you would play in a room to just show your part might be the actual sound you want to use for the recording too.
Yeah, I like, even sometimes I do use like the digital stuff.
Yeah.
But if you reamp that, I think sounds a bit more special,
So how do you go about reamping something? What's your process?
Generally, I just I have an orange here and a just chorus. I generally just go through that and like reamp.
But like, how do you even go from the computer to the amp and then back into the computer again?
Well, I just use the output of the interface, and I don't use like a reamp box or anything because.
Does it just have a 1/4-inch output?
Yeah. And
so
I don't know if
plug a guitar cable.
Yeah, I don't know if like it's the best quality possible, but I'm not going for quality here. I'm just trying to screw that up actually. So yeah, I just put that on the amp and maybe a guitar pedal before that, to get saturation or like a modulation stuff. And sometimes I just mic the amp, and other times I mic the amp and the room, sometimes just the room.
Are you recording your own music or other people's music in your studio, but you're having trouble figuring out how to get your mixes to sound great? Do they sound weak and distant or lack punch and clarity? Well, I've got a gift for you to help you take your mixes from sounding like basement demos to sounding a lot more like professional mixes. And it's my free course called Mix Master Bundle. This course will show you how to get pro-sounding mixes from your home studio with free and stock plugins in Pro Tools. And the best part is, these mixing techniques will work for you in any DAW, whether you're in Logic, Cubase, PreSonus Studio One, Reaper, or anything you can think of. Are you ready to make your best record ever? Then go to mixmasterbundle.com to get started for free now, and you can find the clickable link in the show notes of this episode. Is it tricky if you're in one room like that to figure out what the sound is that you're getting? Do you sometimes have to record it and then play it back before you even know what it really sounds like?
Yeah, I have to do a lot of experimentation here because not every spot sounds great. Like at Chris's, for example, Chris Sorem, NAS Recorders, like it's amazing because his room always sound great. Like every part of it, can put the microphone anywhere.
Yeah.
And if you have a non-treated space and with the shape like of in a garage, sometimes you have to experiment a lot to see what's best.
Yeah, and without a control room, you don't know what it sounds like until you've recorded it and then you play it back. Yeah. I guess if you have in-ear headphones, sometimes that can help a little bit if you can block out other sounds, but then you'd have to train yourself to know what sounds right in the in-ear monitors,
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let me jump to some of our closing questions here. You've just gotten started on this path and you're already moving quickly and doing some cool stuff. But when you were, when you started out in recording, what do you feel like was holding you back?
Let's see. I guess it was more the economic and political situation here. So that's why it took me so, not in just recording, but music in general. So I guess, and you realize just afterwards that there is no like, if you don't follow what you really like, it's not going to work. Like if you have something to put out, like creatively, I guess you have to do it, because you can have a job that you give you a lot of money and stuff, but if you don't do what you like, I don't think it's going to work, at least if you are a creative person.
Right.
So,
you were faced with that. I mean, you had the opportunity to go do law and potentially earn money that way. But if you're not doing the music, then you weren't going to be happy.
Yeah, I guess something that might help someone else, in my path, that I really learn is that you have to follow your gut. I guess maybe if you're on a situation, on a place that doesn't have a strong music community or industry, you have to
Mhm.
uh, make more sacrifices, and maybe it's going to be harder than for someone that has more opportunities and stuff. But I think it's worth it. At least right now, I'm thinking about that.
And you feel like you could still learn a ton just from the internet.
Yeah, you have to. There's a learning curve about this teachers. When you get to the experience, you see what which ones you can trust. But
Right.
yeah, but you just I guess with platforms like your podcast, for example, and Mix with the Masters and Pure Mix, or the Eric Valentine channel, you
Yeah.
see, like, you can hear the discography of the person and actually hear if they're talking bullshit or not. You can hear by their work. So
Yeah.
I guess that's my advice to people that are starting. See what that person is doing after you trust what they're saying.
hmm
Maybe
Do
something like
you
that.
when you listen to Recording Studio Rockstars, did you find that it was helpful to have the playlist of music where you could go listen to some of the records after an interview? Or
Uh-huh.
is that more like, yeah, that was helpful for you?
Yeah, and I actually I always, if someone speaks to me, I go and you know uh, go to All Music as well, and see their stuff, and
Yeah. Yeah.
try to read something about the person. Yeah, I guess researching helps a lot just to
Yeah.
know about the person.
Okay. How about some of the best advice you remember receiving?
Well, I guess I heard a lot of people talking about that, what I just said about trusting my gut, and a few people were just talking about, like, you have to follow your passion and all. But I heard a lot of people also discouraging that, and saying that, you know music is not going to take you anywhere and stuff like that. And that entered my mind for a while, you know
hmm
so I guess the best advice is that, like, you just have to do what you feel like, and there's
Yeah.
no, yeah, every
There's
person
no
is different.
guarantees.
Yeah, maybe you go through a path that will give you money, but will make you miserable, so. And you don't know when like when the pandemic hit, for example, you don't know what's going to happen, so you might just well do what you give you fun and happiness.
Yeah. All right. How about another recording tip, hack, or secret sauce? Something that you want to share with the rock stars about how to make something sound cool in the studio.
I guess it's just try different stuff, and it's something that I learned with Shawn and Chris as well. Maybe when you record a sound, sometimes you might think it's done, but maybe it's just the beginning. So if you
hmm
get a great guitar sound, you don't need to stop there. Maybe you can run that through another pedal, or maybe through a tape machine, VCR, and run that, like you said, like through a Casio speaker and mic that up. You know, it's endless. So
hmm
I guess that's that's how you get original sounds. It's by not stopping and just keep going and until you find something that's unique.
Yeah. But at the same time, you have to find that balance of like, when to do the experimenting, when to move fast, how,
Hmm.
know
Yeah.
when to stop or know when something sounds exciting.
Yeah, if you have time to experiment, I think that's awesome. But you also want to finish stuff, and yeah, have to perspective as well. Like, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
How about a favorite hardware tool in the studio? Something physical that you love using? Obviously, you like your RE20 because we saw it in the video recording the car, and you're using it now.
Yeah, but I guess my favorite stuff are the junk, the Tascam and the Akai cassette tape, cassette deck, the VCR. This stuff that has personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I like the most. When I was in Peter's studio, for example, he has the Unfair Child, and it was my first contact, like mixing through that stuff, and seeing that thing reacting to your mixing. It was almost like it was something alive, like when you're playing with someone, and you both like can hear each other and react to each other. When you're mixing through stuff that is not like a digital thing, it reacts to you and we react to it. So this interaction, it's what I have more interest.
Yeah, because if you're hearing the sound when you make the sound, then you can respond to it. It can affect how you're playing the instrument, which is cool. How about a favorite software tool? Anything exciting, plugin wise, or any other apps that you've been getting into?
I guess it's kind of the same, like some things that mess with the sound, like harmonic distortions, stuff like Decapitator and
pick three.
Three.
Yeah. Decapitator.
Echo Boy.
That's the Sound Toys.
Echo Boy.
Echo Boy. Oh, we're two Sound Toys for two already.
Yeah. And maybe Satin as well.
Oh, Satin is the tape emulator?
Yeah, and it has flanger and delay. And you can just use that for equalization, but it has a soft clip as well. It's a bunch of...
Is that FabFilter or who's Satin?
Satin is Yuhi.
Oh, Yuhi. Actually, I did know that. I just didn't say it first. I should have said that. Okay, cool. All right. Those are great tips and fun things to try out. Let me take you to this question. So this one is hypothetical, and I like to ask all the guests on the show. And we get to take the Wayback Studio machine, and you go back in time and you find young Felipe, and you say, who's heading off to, I don't know, Amsterdam or London to go play music. And you say, listen, dude, here's the single most important thing you need to know to be a rock star of the studio yourself one day. What advice do you want to go back and give yourself if you could?
I'm going to repeat myself here and say about the follow your gut thing, because I guess if I had to change something about my past, it would be that, to start this earlier in my life. So I'll give this advice to anyone and to myself, like younger self.
That's great.
Just follow your gut.
Get started and follow your gut.
Yeah.
Well, dude, this great talking to you. Great learning more about you. Thanks for sharing all these cool things. I love seeing those Instagram videos where you're making funky, cool instruments and, the little Tascam mixer. That stuff's so much fun to mess around with. There's so much sound in an old analog mixer like that. I think we all need to remember that. A mixer isn't necessarily the mixer that we're going to use to mix the song in, but it might be the thing that we use to get the sound and create the sound, and sometimes we do mix in it. And then the VHS tape stuff is really cool to see. And the binaural headphones. It's a reminder we should get out there and start capturing the sounds of our world. Let the rock stars know, where can they find you online? Where can they learn more about you if they want to follow you on Instagram?
So my like artistic Instagram, like for the studio and my career, is Junkmahal. Just at Junkmahal, and I have a website, junkmahal.com, and also my personal account is Felipe Scalone, which you can find like just searching Junkmahal. I'm gonna be there, Felipe, and I guess that's it. And I just want to thank you for inviting me, because I'm a huge fan. I learn a lot like from your podcast. I think what you're doing is amazing. Helping a lot of people starting out, or even like further on the career. It's always great to hear producers talk. So anyway, thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome, man. And thanks for joining us. Rockstars, thank you for joining us to listen or watch if you're here on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, come on over to YouTube. We're here now. So, when you see those Instagram videos, you actually get to see some of this stuff. I do my best to describe things when we are looking at something in the video, but this is a great place to watch it. And then subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and let us know in the comments what you think about the stuff we talked about, or if we got anything wrong and you want to correct us, drop it in there and let us know. What question do you want to ask the rock stars, Felipe? What question should they answer in the comments?
Maybe what's let's see, what's their reality, I guess, because coming from Brazil and seeing people, in the UK and also in Los Angeles, you see a lot of different realities. So I think it's interesting, to know about someone else. He has a different perspective, and you always learn. You always learn a lot. Getting to know about that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. All right, what's your reality, rock stars? Drop a comment in. All right, Felipe, thanks, man. Good to see you, dude.
Thank you so much.
See you around the studio.
See ya.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening to Recording Studio Rockstars. If you enjoyed the show and want to help make it better, then please share this episode with your friends on social media and leave a rating and review on iTunes to help the podcast reach more rock stars like yourself. You can click directly over to iTunes or go to rsrockstars.com/review for an easy explanation. And remember to hit the subscribe button to keep up with weekly episodes. And if you're ready to make your best record ever now, then head over to Recording Studio Rockstars Academy, where you can start with my free course at mixmasterbundle.com. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks for being a rock star. I'm Lid Shaw, and this is Recording Studio Rockstars. Now, go make great music. Recording Studio Rockstars would like to give a big thank you to our awesome sponsors who help make this episode possible: iZotope, Native Instruments, Atom Audio, and SAE Institute. And remember to take advantage of our special coupon codes at iZotope.com and nativeinstruments.com. Use the coupon code ROCK10 for 10% off any plugin purchase. And don't forget, you can start mixing right now with my free course at mixmasterbundle.com. If you enjoyed Recording Studio Rockstars, please check out our sponsors using the links in the show notes. These are all things I highly recommend for your studio. They're going to help you make your best record ever. Also, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because it's a great way for you to help support this show. I'd also like to thank our fantastic team here at Recording Studio Rockstars, Vlad Weselchenko and Liz Hulitskaya. Thanks so much for watching and listening, Rockstars. We'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.